heart's racing.
Step back, you.
Multiple deaths, a curse and a plethora of hauntings await the most haunted team at Aberglasney House.
Got me.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. It's said that anyone who lives in the shadow of this hill is cursed. This manor house is situated in that very shadow. With unexplained deaths, dark entities and strange noises, we have 24 hours to investigate the hauntings of Aberglasney House in Wales.
The history of Aberglasney has never been clear, but according to records, 10 generations of Welshmen owned the estate before the arrival of Bishop Rudd in the mid-1600s, who rebuilt the house and is responsible for the way it looks today. The property was sold at the start of each new century, and a strange seesaw pattern of wealth alternating with misfortune emerged. Each new family establishes itself with great hopes and ambitions, but after a period of time, the family found itself in difficulties and debt. Eventually, the male heirs died, leaving no male line left, and the house sat empty and silent for many years.
The curse of Grongar Hill, which of course is just over here, they say that anyone living in the shadow of that hill, and of course this house is in the shadow of the hill, will always have bad fortune. Many of the families that lived here either went bankrupt or, of course, in the end, of course, left the place. It's the sort of place that you would expect to find ghosts. There are many, many reported sightings of ghosts here, both by members of the public that visit the place, staff and old staff that used to work here many, many years ago that have come back over a period of time and told their stories.
Well, I suppose I don't believe in ghosts, but having said that, whenever I walk back at night past the mansion in sort of twilight, it often goes through my mind, and I actually almost look for them. So there's obviously some air of doubt in my mind about not believing in them. There must be something there, I suppose.
People have experienced noises of footsteps in this corridor. They've also seen the spirits of 2 hooded men and the ghost of a little boy.
They're renovating the place at the moment. It's made of stone, which is of course a good ingredient for recordings of ghosts. But the other thing, of course, is that many builders and decorators, restoration people, see ghosts because they're disturbing the building. And as they're knocking things around, sometimes people see things or hear things, a little bit like a cassette player dropping on the floor, and the jolt causes that tape to come on again, and people hear something from the past replayed over and over again. Could be some of that in this place.
Since restoration work began, the ghost of a little girl and an evil presence have been seen and felt throughout the whole building. Did the builders unwittingly unleash a malevolent spirit? So strong are these feelings that some visitors refuse to enter the house.
This place has well over 60,000 visitors a year, but some people pay their money at the gate, get down as far as the door, and for some strange reason sense an evil presence and turn away and go back without ever daring in.
My initial thought about visitors saying they don't want to go in the house because they have this sort of eerie feeling is that I'm glad I don't have that eerie feeling as well, because I quite enjoy going in the house. And having never seen anything, I still don't mind going in. But it's quite a common occurrence, visitors coming in saying, I don't want to go any further, because they feel a sort of cold presence.
On a windy night in 1650, 5 maidservants went to sleep in this very room. In the morning, they'd all mysteriously died. Since then, their ghosts are said to wander, and candles have been seen floating on their own in this bedchamber. Could the souls of these poor, unfortunate women still remain here? And what killed them?
The chief housemaid here at the house, the night before a nasty incident took place, saw 5 candles burning in the window. And the following night, 5 maids died in the blue room. The story is that they died of suffocation from fumes, coke fumes from the fire. But there is another story that it's a possibility that they died of arsenic poisoning. So we've got 2 different stories. I wonder if Derek will add anything to them tonight.
Phil Wyman, our paranormal investigator, had taken time to understand the layout of the building by conducting what is called a baseline test and getting to know the ghost stories at Aberglasney House.
Phil, this is an unusual location. Is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to tonight?
Well, this is a great place. It's been derelict for so long, and now it's been refurbished, but some of the ghost stories attached to it are amazing. Now, I've heard there's supposed to be 90 to 120 ghosts now. I don't believe in that, to be honest with you, and that's my personal opinion. But if the reputation lives up to it being 90 to 120 ghosts, good chance of getting something on camera.
What about the actual place? It's under refurbishment at the moment, but when it gets dark, we're all okay now, but how do you think everybody's going to react when it's very dark at 3 o'clock in the morning, for instance?
I think, to be honest with you, everybody's going to be scared stiff. Now, unless everybody's got torches, it's going to be very dark in here. Now, we all know when it gets dark, people's imagination starts running wild. They see things out the corner of their eye. They hear things. So that's going to be interesting. We've got to be really quiet, though. Those people that aren't doing vigils have got to be really quiet. This place just echoes all over. The one good thing about that is, if we are all quiet and we know where everybody is and we hear things, we can go up and investigate knowing that nobody's around causing that noise.
Now, vigils tonight. There's one particular interesting one, I think, isn't there?
The Blue Room, I believe you're talking about. Now, there is only one access to the Blue Room, and that is by a ladder outside of the building to climb in through the window. If we stick somebody in there tonight and things start happening and they don't like it, there is no easy way out. It's about a 15-foot drop, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens and if anybody gets freaked out by that.
What about outside?
Well, outside there are supposed to be a number of sightings, mainly around the cloisters, which is just below me here, and also the new terrace of the cafe that's just been built. Things have been seen there quite recently, so if we send somebody out there with cameras later, yeah, it might be interesting.
I've never stayed in the house, and I think you'll be the first people to stay in the house for, I know, probably 40, 50 years. You're welcome to it. I expect it's going to be quite cold, and I hope you see something. I can't wait until tomorrow morning to hear what you've found or discovered.
Whilst we were filming during the day, the house was full of interested visitors, and none of us felt scared at all. As soon as night came and the visitors had left, the house and grounds looked ominous, and it felt totally different. We asked medium Derek Okora to join the team for the night, and hopefully he could find some answers to the mysteries surrounding this beautiful home. With our crew complete, we were ready to begin our investigation.
Now, you brought us outside straight away. Why is that?
Yes, because my feelings, the psychic feelings initially was drawing me out to the outside more so than the inside.
So what are you picking up around here?
Well, here's a pathway, Evie. And, of course, we've got water here. And this pathway, I feel as if it's so well, and I use basic words, well-trodden. Well-trodden, not by just the physical, meaning physical people, but by spirit people. I'm not talking about one of them either. I'm talking possibly at this point in time, because I do want to go further up to get closer to the energies that I'm being drawn.
Yeah, come on.
And, I feel here that we've got not so much a mixture of residual energy, which I often talk about, inground in the ground, of memories, of individual walking, but actually individual spirit people. Spirit people at times that are actually walking this pathway and coming up even to this level here. And a little bit, a moment or two ago, I noticed both a man's shape and a woman's shape, and they seem to virtually come together. And I did notice, like, seating in this area here.
Yeah.
And it took place there. The man moved away from the woman, and as if he was just like in the physical body still thinking of actually sitting down at one of the tables.
Can you see us?
Yes, absolutely.
Is he looking
he's-
at us?
Yes, he is. And he's not budging. He's not fazed by us either. And I feel that this man, okay, in his time when he was here in the physical, he would have been so attached to the outside here. Now, the female that showed herself there was in a very dark, if you like, greyish, full-length dress and something that was, what do they call that, piping?
Yes.
Piping here in the front, and it's as if she stood like that as he walked over to sit down, and she stood there, and the way she was looking at him was as if to say she was proud of him. So I feel she's connected to him. They're both, I feel they must have been in partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Her energy is dispersed a bit, but his energy is staying put. He doesn't, and I don't believe at all that where the main building here is concerned, he would not have had much control there.
Right.
I also feel as if she is. Thank you, Sam. She is they have got a connection with the building. Okay, when we go into the building later,
Yeah.
this lady has got a connection with a little girl that goes on the upper level, and she runs across, and she is the mother. Is he the father? He's the father of the little girl. There's also another child in there who's not connected to the little girl. Both have spirit children. But the little girl is linked to this lovely lady.
Is there any way of finding out a family
Sarah.
name?
Give me that again, please. It sounded like Ceres.
Ceres.
Ceres? Is it Ceres? It sounds like Ceres
For
to
the
me.
for the woman or for the child?
For the child.
Right.
Ceres. Ceres. Yes, okay. Thank you. Yes. But not just there. Not just there.
Who's talking over there?
Did you hear that then?
Yes, I did. Did anybody else hear it?
I've heard a couple of noises
It
from
was
there.
like a murmuring or a man
Yeah,
talking.
murmuring over there while
Yeah.
Derek was talking first.
Yes.
Should we see if it comes back?
It's a separate person. Yeah.
It was definitely like a man's...
You know something? There's a hooded man. There's a hooded man. He's like, the way the hood is shown like this.
Should we go and see?
Yes, please. Let's go down there. That's interesting. He comes, he treads up this pathway. And he's actually been seen. But he shows himself in the main building and he's just like a dark shadow. But out here, he's hooded, he's been seen. So let's try and find out, please, why he does this, who he is. Did you see something then or hear anything?
What's up?
Oh, it must have been an animal because I just heard a cry, but it must have been an animal.
You know, again, we're walking on this energy here, and like what I was picking up before, the man and the woman, there's a lot more than this. There's even more than the hooded figure. It's like...
There's a light down there. Can anybody see a light down there?
Where?
Am I seeing things?
Oh, shit. Keep still.
Yes. Is it static?
No, it's moving.
I walked down there in the day. I don't remember seeing any lights or anything.
It could be a torchlight, couldn't it, from somebody else down there?
Yeah, but who would be?
Should we go down and see?
Come with you, Carl.
Come on, let's all go. You never know.
I just thought it was odd that there's a light there.
Oh, God, I hate... Why do we always end up having to walk in woods and things?
Well, we've got to check these things out.
Yeah, I know we have, but...
It just seems odd to me that there's a light in the middle of what I thought are woods down here.
Walking in haunted woods did not seem like a good idea, but we had to find out what that light was, and the only way to do that was to venture further into the darkness. We had also seen a light shining through the trees, and we needed to find out what was causing it. As we walked deeper and deeper into the woods, Derek was convinced we were not alone.
This is where that light was. There's something connected here. Something connected here, in this area. There are people buried here. There's people buried here. Here, where we are, with this light, as we've been drawn here, is to come here. There are bones underneath this ground. Here, unconsecrated ground. Oh, the back of my neck. That's something to do with this hooded figure. And back to those trees. Oh. Lives were taken, and different individuals were brought here, buried under the ground.
Did he take the lives?
Yes. He was responsible for this, because something that was practiced, something that was done around that area. In that, when? Okay, something happened around building of something close into these grounds that took place around the 16th century, kicked off stuff that had gone on, this negative stuff, linked with this hooded soul. Say it again. He was not clearly responsible, but he was laughing when the ladies all went into the sleep state and did not wake up.
What ladies are those?
5 ladies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ladies perished, and he didn't wake. He was part responsible for it, but he didn't get his way. He didn't take them away and bury them. He was around watching. Was he in the physical at the time, Sam, or was he spirit body? No, he was spirit body by then. Okay. But he watched the system of things as they perished. But when we go to the main building, and we go into the areas that will be unfolded to us.
It seemed logical to go into the house and continue our investigation there. This was good news for me, as I was becoming more and more nervous.
You all right?
Yeah, fine. They're just, talking about dead bodies under the ground.
I know, I'm sorry about that, but
Just be careful where you're going, Derek.
those spirit lights and what have you would show themselves like that to draw your attention to come into the area. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Like the leaves. Shh. That was very, very pronounced. He's playing about with us, this one.
I don't like this at all. I think it's because we're in the middle of the night and are walking around on where people have been buried.
Again, you see there's that section. You okay? You all right? It's okay. You all right? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. You all right? Okay. All right. I've got you, Evie. You all right? You okay?
Sorry, guys.
All right. Just stay calm now. Okay.
What's up?
All right.
What's the matter? What's the matter?
Something went in my ear.
Yes. Okay.
Something breathed in my ear.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like it when they do that.
Okay. Well, we'll walk out of the area now. You're all right.
Sorry,
Love. It's okay. That was a moth.
pathetic. I'm
No,
sorry,
you're
I'm
not.
sorry,
No,
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Stop.
I was so convinced that I'd heard breathing in my ear. It was only until we were editing this programme that we were able to see the terrifying culprit, a moth. This shows how nerves can make you believe almost anything. With our walk in the woods over and time to compose myself, it was back to the house to continue our investigation, using our night vision cameras. Derek was certain that the ghost of a hooded figure was lurking somewhere inside. None of us expected to go to the Blue Room until later. This was the place where the 5 maids had lost their lives.
Well, now we're up here. Do you feel anything? Is anything coming to you straight away? Or...
Well, what's becoming evident now to me is as we've come and we've been in the atmosphere for a few moments, is I pick up this absolute sadness, and the way I want to describe the sadness is the way I feel it actually took place at a given time here in this room. And what it is, quite innocently, at a certain time, we have a certain amount of ladies knowing each other, involved with each other, going about, I suppose, the only way I can describe it, daily toils, and working very hard, wanting to come to rest. And then suddenly, for those ladies to realise that they've left the physical body. Now, these ladies found themselves, and I feel very innocently, they left the physical bodies. And this is what I keep on asking, trying to establish precisely how they found themselves leaving their body. And it seems as if there was something in the atmosphere that caused this. The only way I can describe it, because I'm picking up now, I'm being given this around my breathing, picking up some kind of distaste, even to my tongue and what have you here. So I'm taking it that is a copy of what was happening in this atmosphere. And the only way I can describe it, there was a poisoning, but not a conventional poison, meaning, you know, taking a draught. A poisoning to the lungs, a poisoning like the breathing and what have you. They most certainly, as what I can gather here, would not have felt pain. It's like going to sleep and just not physically waking up again. Oh, gosh. Something was burned. Something was burned. And all along, when these ladies, these maids, do you know if I can describe it like maids? They didn't know that they were, whilst they were resting, that they were being systematically poisoned. They were taking in carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide poisoning. That was accidental then. That was accidental because one of them was the cause, accidental, thank you, Sam, the cause of the deaths of herself and 4 others. But something that she'd gathered, I feel it has something to do with a fire. And not a fire that engulfed them in flames, so to speak. Something had gone into the treatment of whatever fuel that they were burning that caused these fumes to engulf their sleeping area. They were not, their lives were not taken from them by another physical being. They were not murdered. They were not.
Whilst we continued to investigate the house, Carl the director and Craig, one of our cameramen, had gone off on their own. Earlier in the day, the owner had explained that during restoration work on Aberglasney House, a large percentage of ghostly sightings had taken place in the basement, but we had no idea where the entrance to it was.
Craig has just found the basement of this building. No one has been down here yet today. Absolutely no one in the crew. We didn't know he was here. Craig's found it, and we're going down. Now this apparently is the hub for all the paranormal activity in this place. Let's go.
Alright, after you.
This is where the little girl has seen a lot. Yeah. Oh. It's running water.
You alright?
Yeah. It is a little bit scary down here though. This is amazing. But this is where, apparently when the refurbishment started, they think they unearthed something. What they unearthed, we don't know. But apparently this is where there's an evil presence in this little girl. That's where we are.
It is quite scary that, like, I mean, it's just seriously claustrophobic. And there's just, it's nasty.
I mean, we're actually on quite a height. I mean,
This bit's alright.
there's water all over the place. Well, I am getting such a headache in here now.
I've got to say, I'm feeling a bit choked.
Are you?
Just clear my throat.
What about maybe later on coming down there for a vigil?
Yeah, stick to this edge, it's best.
Look, brand new. That was good.
It was imperative that we brought Derek down into the basement. If the ghost of the little girl has been seen regularly, then perhaps our medium could pick up more information underneath the house.
Tamworth Castle, 900 years old.
There.
Come spend the night. Most Haunted this Tuesday at 9 on Living TV.
We had found the basement of the house, and we were eager to find out from our medium if there was any activity down here. Derek was determined to find the ghost of the hooded man.
His emanations definitely have originated down here, because his energy, his residual energy, he would have done things. He would have been accustomed to things in this area down here. I just, it's like, it's walloping me across my chest here with him. I don't know anything, the history, anything about this building, but I swear that this robed figure should have been spotted, knowing his type of personality, on a number of occasions. And I can't, not at the moment, and it's frustrating me. I can't get to the bottom. I'm trying to put the jigsaw, the pieces together psychically of what his role was here. I feel that he wasn't a person, a human being.
Was that you? Please tell me that was you.
No, it wasn't. Did you hear it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Tell me what you
in the
heard. Tell me what
background.
you heard.
I heard more like a whisper.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was over to the right.
feel
It was like a...
Just we walk through there?
Should we listen?
Yes.
Should we listen?
Okay.
What do you feel, Craig?
I would say I feel exactly the same as I did when I was down here with Carl earlier. When we first came down here, my throat's all tight and constricted again. Exactly the same place.
When you were talking earlier, Derek, I mean, I got a real cold spot. I mean,
Yeah.
I was absolutely freezing,
Yes.
and I'm not now.
Is there any pipe work that could make that
Not
hissing
down here, there's
noise?
no pipe work now. There's a sort of...
Someone's with me now. Someone's got my shoulders.
Do you want
Hold on, just a moment. Hold on. Step back, you. Step back. Leave me alone. Step back. Just held my shoulders and pulled my shoulders back and held it there for about 3 or 4 seconds. And he's here. He is here. He's here. Let's move out of this section here, Ivy, because I feel he's going to try and do something here. Oh, bent my shoulders back. Is this? Okay, he's still around here. He is still around here. He's actually playing with us. Carl,
Yeah.
V, there's going to be a build-up here.
Should we leave now?
No, we've got... That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and come back with the build-up happens.
Derek.
Phil,
Derek,
get out, mate, get up.
Hey, Derek. Come on. Come on, Derek. 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 Come on. Derek. Derek, it's Phil. It's Phil.
Hold on, Phil.
We're okay.
Take me away from here. Just move me over.
Let's get me over here. Take this. I'm getting you out there.
Oh. I've got my shoulders, come on. Come out with us now. Come out with us, please.
We were all alarmed at what we had just witnessed and were relieved when Derek made his exit. We decided it was best for the crew to split up into small groups, covering the house and the grounds. The majority of us went into the main part of the house in hopes of experiencing something paranormal. After a few hours, nothing had happened of any great significance. Maybe a séance was required in the Blue Room so that hopefully we could encourage something to happen. Meanwhile, Richard Felix had decided to venture into the grounds on his own, and Rick, Stuart and Craig had gone back underground to the basement.
Should we go through to where Derek was possessed?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, okay, go on, you two leave
All right,
the
this
cameras.
way.
I can't see a bloody thing.
Derek was standing right where Stuart is now when he got possessed.
Where Stuart is
Exactly
now.
where Stuart is now.
So where you are now,
I've repeatedly had a feeling standing here of being choked.
Ever since I started doing the series, I've been wanting to pluck up the courage to go into somewhere on my own. Down into a tunnel or one of the rooms alone. And I must be honest, I still haven't plucked up the courage to do it. This is the nearest I've come. I'm now in the grounds of the hall. And I think the nearest thing I can do is to actually wander through this yew tree tunnel alone, which I'm heading towards. I'm going through it.
The interest that's been shown, I'd be totally surprised if we don't get some kind of reaction from them. Nice reaction, not a negative thing.
There's like kind of noise, as if it's almost like, central heating when it's on.
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah.
Is there any kind of motorised?
I must be for that noise.
There's no motorised thing. I mean, there's obviously got to be something, but...
Is it water system?
Sounds like a water.
Yeah, it might be water.
Well, it wouldn't come to a
Something
pipe.
just blew on the side of my...
Is it?
Is it?
Yes, it did. It was quite a little... I heard that. Was that something just dropping from the ceiling, or was that like a click?
Just a click out in that corner.
No, it was over there.
It was in the
It was in
corner.
that corner there.
Yeah.
It was in that corner.
If you don't want us here, just make some sort of a noise or do something to let us know you don't want us here and we'll leave.
No, we won't leave. We'll stay here if we hear anything.
No one knows that, I'm just saying that.
It's pretty nasty down here. It's really dank and dingy. Quite claustrophobic.
I don't think I could come down here on my own at all. I don't think I'd last more than 2 minutes in all honesty.
I do actually feel quite comfortable in it, to be honest. I don't think there is anything, my opinion is I don't think there is anything in it, but saying that, I do not think though I would spend any time down here alone.
No, it's not
I think if you were
nasty.
down here, I think if you were down here on your own, then I think obviously something may happen, but generally the place itself, I think it's quite freaky.
Yeah, it's not a nasty feeling.
I completely disagree with you. I've got the worst headache in between my eyes and do not like it at all.
Would you spend time down here on your own if you
No,
had to?
no chance. I don't want to go have a leak now.
What did you hear?
A little squeaking.
Clicking?
Yeah, there's a gap.
Oh, it sounded like a little squeaking voice.
No.
Yeah.
Shh.
Yeah.
Smell. Can you smell?
What?
Smell.
What's it smell?
It's almost like a fragrance, like a sweet smell, almost like perfume. Can you not smell that? Please tell me someone can smell it. Over this way.
Ooh. That smells like perfume
I'm
to
not
you.
wearing
No,
any
does it smell like
perfume.
perfume to you?
To me, yeah, it's just
It
coming
smells
in here.
foul to me. that actually smells. It smells rancid. Does it? To me.
It smells sweet.
No, to me that smells rancid.
What are you trying to say?
You, but that smell. It's not very off-putting.
Actually,
going on somewhere.
It's still there, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll sit in this corner for a bit, actually.
These are nice as well.
Right now, I'd much rather see the ghost of the little girl than the guy who was choking Derek or doing whatever possessing Derek.
What happened to Derek?
He just started, he got gripped from the side and then he started kind of talking out the side of it and got all tight and it was horrible. Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully something like that will happen to us then, eh? We might end up getting choked or thrown about or pushed. Maybe. Hope it happens, in all honesty. Personally, I'd rather it happen to myself. So then I would be a firm...
Not going to lie to you, I'd rather it happen to you as well.
I think then I would be a firm believer that there is something there. Well, I've heard things, I've felt things, you know, I've been pushed and that, but... You know, it's all explainable at the end of the day, but I mean, if we was actually to see a silhouette of some kind down here, that'd sum things up, that, wouldn't it?
This tunnel is over 1,000 years old, and you've got the most incredible gnarled old yew trees in here. I hope nothing's behind me. Not a problem. I'm walking down towards the cloisters.
Just had serious deja vu then. It's like I've been here before or I've dreamt it before. No, Craig, stay.
No, I fucking can't.
Right, we'll leave us a camera then.
What are you going for? What's wrong with you?
I was about to pass out just then.
Alright, we'll give us a camera.
Wait till I get out.
No, wait.
Well, there was 3 of us. 1 down, 2 to go.
My heart's racing. I feel fucking horrible. I feel terrible, mate.
Well done. How do you feel?
I just got this overwhelming feeling of sickness and everything just went black and I was about to pass out. I just had to leave. Still my heart is racing. I feel like shit.
Think it's nerves?
No, I don't think it is because it just suddenly came over me so fast.
Just for the record, I've just left Rick on his own.
I'm shaking.
Without any form of light whatsoever, so I'm just going to go back in there now.
You take that and my legs are gone. I can't even walk.
Could you do anything at all just to show us that you're here in the room with us? Anything at all? How do you feel, Phil?
Fine.
Nothing?
No.
How does I'm getting cold, but maybe that's probably because I'm sitting still. Is anybody else feeling cold?
I was just thinking that exactly when you said that. It's nothing extreme.
Just like a breeze.
It just feels like the temperature's dropping a bit.
Oh, I am getting a breeze on my ear again.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And the temperature for me is dropping quite rapidly.
Okay.
Do you feel cold, Carl?
No.
Phil?
No. My hands feel cold. Just here. Actually, there's one thing I do feel is absolutely shattered.
You look shattered.
Yeah.
I was trying to actually think of an excuse to say to all of us, can we close our eyes and try and see what we can do so I can go to sleep. If I close my eyes, I will go to sleep.
Should we make a move? Should we blow the candles out?
It was now up to Richard Felix to hopefully come across something paranormal. He was on his own in the grounds, trying to conquer his fear.
It's that dark door ahead that bothers me. What's through there? Oh my God. This is your worst nightmare. What's through the blackness? If there is anything, I'm out of here. My God. I don't know whether this can be seen on the camera, but I have two large shadows. No, it's too much. Can't cope with this. No, don't like it. Fucking hell! It's got me. That's panic for you. Haven't broken the camera. Fell over. Didn't like it in there. Not that brave, are you? Going back to the house now, please.
So this house that has stood alone and empty for years, that is supposed to be haunted, left its effect on some members of the crew, but not all. Derek believed he contacted a malevolent spirit, a hooded figure that has been seen regularly. We never did find out who this spirit once was, or why he still haunts. Richard Felix thought he saw a dark figure in the grounds. Some strange noises were heard and a mysterious light shone at us through the woods. Aberglasney House certainly is an interesting place to investigate, but is it haunted?
"90 reported sightings of ghosts within the place, so I expected something to happen, and Derek came up with some of them. Certainly not 90.
During the walk around at night in the woods, when everybody saw the light, we did actually get a bit carried away with what that could be. I prefer to put it down to maybe somebody actually in the woods or a car in the distance maybe. Having said that, there has been sightings of a hooded figure there in that location, so who knows. Personally, I don't think it was anything to do with any paranormal activity.
We were led to an area of like cellars, so to speak. I was aware of this pulling down hard on my shoulders, and with just, I suppose, a mental energy said, no, I don't wish this, and it away from me, thankfully.
He seemed to be taken over in the basement. That was quite frightening. Bothered me a little bit.
During one of the vigils in the house, Craig, who went into the cellar, complained of breathing difficulties. He said he was being choked. This could be down to paranormal activities, but I think it's more likely down to the fact that the air down there was damp and you couldn't really breathe properly anyway.
In the area where Derek had picked up the figure that sat with people at the table, I thought I saw a figure. I'm sure it was my imagination, but that was it. I lost my bottle and turned and ran, fell over, and felt a right prat. But I did say at the beginning that I thought we might see a ghost. And I might have done. I'm not sure.
One of the first things that the group witnesses is the strange and mysterious light in the woods. And the light doesn't appear to move, so it suggests it's not somebody with a torch walking through the woods. But when they go and investigate, they find no source of the light. There's nothing there at all. So it's left a little bit unresolved. But what we do see is shortly after that is that the group does start to experience things which they start to interpret now in terms of perhaps a paranormal explanation. So, for example, Yvette hears some strange breathing in her ear, only to find out shortly after, or in fact when they start to edit the material, that perhaps it seems to be just a moth was flying in and out of her ear. But at the time, it's very worrying, and it leads the group to think perhaps something unusual is happening.
What are you going for? What's wrong with you?
I was about to pass out.
All right, well, give us a camera. Wait for us to get out.
When we look at the three lads down in the basement, Rick, Craig and Stuart, again, it's a very nice example of how the crew seems to be becoming a little bit more sceptical and critical in their approach to investigations, which is a very good thing. And what I'm talking about here is that even though we have Craig, who seems to be reporting feeling ill and headaches, Stuart and Rick don't go along with that and saying, yeah, well, I feel a bit odd here too. They have their own opinions and they're happy to voice them. So again, it suggests that they're not just going along with the sort of general opinion of the people they're with. They're actually starting to stamp their own individual opinion. And I think that suggests or reflects that they are becoming a little bit more sceptical in their investigations. And I look forward to seeing more of that in future investigations.
How do you feel?
I just got this overwhelming feeling of sickness, and everything just went black and I was about to pass out. I just had to leave.
Well, that was certainly an interesting evening. 90 ghosts? I don't think so. Until the next time, sleep tight.
Don't laugh at my bottom.
Might try again another time.